Hey, welcome. This is, Captain Killybine, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of a handwriting lesson here, and it's a note to self. You know, you can never go wrong with a note to self. Sometimes you're, at a point in the day where maybe you just did a lot of work and, the first sentence is pivotal too, that first sentence. And in this case, I made the classic blunder. I picked a piece of paper that, it was the backside of a printed piece of paper that was otherwise going to be shredded. And it was, do you see that crease down the middle? That was kind of impeding my handwriting. And but the first sentence is pivotal. Today's lesson is, and what is today's lesson? You're trying to, just gather your thoughts when you write a note, and I think that happens when you write a note. You kind of listen to yourself, and then you kind of, when you're writing the words, you kind of say them to yourself. So I think a letter is often very conversational. And maybe that's the goal of a letter. And you never really think about how, the paper and the pen make a sound. You hear that? Primarily it's my hand going over the paper. And just like you can hear a person's footsteps and you can tell who's walking in the house, I think the same thing applies with writing. You can kind of hear a person's writing style. And now here I'm coming up to the bump in the paper, and the bump in the paper really threw me off. Plus, I've never really given play-by-play on a letter. Usually play-by-play is at a sporting event, and a letter's a little slower. Maybe it's more like a very slow version of baseball. And there's some action. You see the paper move? So things are starting to happen, and that's kind of halftime, getting to that middle of the page. Now you're starting to think, okay, I have to either wrap things up here or go to a second page, or do I just kind of end here and make a really big signature? And that's, meanwhile you're trying to figure out, is my handwriting going to get better? I think sometimes if you haven't written for a while, there, see that? My hand is cramping up. And that's because I was doing work earlier in the day, or just before this. And my hand wasn't fresh, because it was kind of a lot of manual labor. Had to, work a shovel a little bit, and then I did some trimming, and then to switch gears and write a letter, that can be, my lines are pretty straight though, and I felt good about that. See, now I'm coming up with excuses on why I'm writing so bad. And, some people, like to write. Other people just like to read a finished product. And it's not often that you'll get live video. There, you see how bad that end was? Oh God, that was the worst "and" I'd ever written. So I had to kind of correct that. And sometimes in a letter you have to do that. You have to cross out. And that's unlike typing on a computer. You can kind of just delete everything you wrote. Or you can copy and paste. You can't copy and paste on a letter. And I think that's what it makes it a little more personal. Another nice thing about a letter is, if you send it to somebody, they have to figure out what half the words you wrote are. Because you can read your own handwriting, but people are kind of scratching their head about some of the things you wrote down. There's a comma. You can never go wrong with a comma. You know, a comma, unlike a period, you're like ending it, you know, a thought, and then a comma's kind of, you know, lets you take a little pause. And you can see I'm kind of getting to this critical, final part of the letter where I really have to wrap it up. I'm not going to do a 2-pager. You see that? I'm not up for a 2-pager today. And it's going to be a 1-page letter. And I'm going to finish strong. You know, you can have a really bad letter, but if you finish strong, that can make all the difference. And, you know, you know, it's funny about how people grip a pen. You know, everybody has kind of a different way of gripping a pen, and it's hard to change. I don't know, you know, it's kind of like, remember my dad was never happy with how I was writing the pen. He felt like I was, you know, my thumb needed to be more back or something. By that time I was in 4th grade and it was too late. I was like, Dad, you know, we had to do this when I was 1 year old. And now it's too late. I'm an old, you know, 4th grade, you're pretty much an old dog at 4th grade, you know, and you're not going to learn many new tricks. So here we are ending it, and, you know, my pen name, my pseudonym is Captain Killyfine. And that's, you want to say, yeah, yours truly. And you cannot go wrong with yours truly. It's kind of personal, but not too personal. And I'm going for the margin. You know, that was such a bad ending. I'm going to write in the margin. And that's going to be the, what's the term when you kind of make up for something, you know? It's like, oh, that's a bad letter. But the margin kind of saved it. It's kind of not the salvation, what was it, my terms? That's one thing you can't really do, you know, when you type in an email. You can't go up in the margin. You can't cross things out. It's just, you know, it's just something about writing a letter that you can just personalize it. And, you know, right now I could draw a doodle. You know, who's to say you can't draw a doodle like that in a computer? You know, or it just wouldn't look like right. But yeah, this is, see, now I'm struggling because I wanted a strong, you know, PS in the margin, and instead I'm just really a little bit of writer's block. You know, sometimes that happens, you know, especially when you have somebody filming you writing. And we have a whole production team, you know, staring at me as I'm writing. There's many people surrounding me. And I kind of got, you know, the cat got my tongue, I think, in a writing sense. There was just too many lights around me, and I kind of froze up. So, there you have it. You know, what did I say there? Yeah, look at that. I'm filling up you gotta, you know, when anybody goes for the margin, you kind of got to give them benefit of the doubt. You know, that's kind of not just mailing it in. You know, you're like, hey, I'm gonna use up that margin. So I feel pretty good, you know, about the effort. Overall, could have been better. Handwriting wasn't quite there. My train of thought wasn't 100% in gear, but that's a solid page, you know, plus a margin. And I'll give it a check. A check minus, really. It's probably more accurate. So, well, thanks for watching.